George Floyd's murder prompted outcry across the country. Now, more than 2 months after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted, many are preparing for his sentencing this Friday afternoon.
What's been happening in the last 2 months is that both lawyers have written memos about what they think the sentencing should be.
Mary Moriarty is a former chief public defender for Hennepin County who has followed this case since the beginning. She says recently Chauvin's attorney filed a motion seeking a lesser sentence, even as low as probation, while prosecutors filed a motion seeking a 30-year sentence.
The top of the box, which is the maximum that Judge Cahill could give without aggravating factors, would be 180 months. It's important for people to know that we are what is called a guidelines state. That means sentencing has to happen within a particular grid unless there are aggravating factors.
Recently, Judge Peter Cahill ruled there were 4 aggravating factors in Floyd's murder that would allow for Chauvin to face more time behind bars.
He's probably read some cases as well to see what comparative sentences are out there. He may be looking at former Officer Knorr. The fact that he has found aggravating factors means that he can sentence Chauvin up to 30 years.
Former Minneapolis police officer Mohamed Noor was sentenced by a Minnesota judge to 12.5 years in prison for the fatal shooting of a woman while responding to her 911 call. But while Chauvin and the 3 other officers involved were indicted on federal civil rights charges last month, people across the world are standing by and tuning in. In Minneapolis, Charmaine Nero, KARE 11 News.
Chauvin will be sentenced Friday at 1:30 p.m. The 3 other officers facing state charges in Floyd's death are expected to be tried together next March.